Wednesday. It's Bishop on Air. I'm Greg Bishop. Thanks for hanging out each and every weekday morning, giving you a breakdown of some important news you should know, especially from Illinois. Do this on my own time, my home office. See the chaos here, embrace the chaos. But you guys hang out with me each and every weekday morning, and I couldn't be more appreciative. We've got a lot to tackle, including the latest out of the Illinois State Board of Elections, keeping not just former President Joe Biden on the ballots, but also keeping incumbent presidents, wait, did I get that wrong? Former President Donald Trump on the ballot and incumbent President Joe Biden on the ballot. So we'll hear at least the motion to deny removing Trump off the ballot. We'll hear that motion coming up, and really I think it gives a good perspective of what the Illinois State Board of Elections feels their jurisdiction is when it comes to these types of issues. We'll also delve into some of the latest with the ongoing litigation against the state's gun and magazine ban. Several different cases. We'll get you updated on that. Out of Cook County, Sheriff Tom Dart says that migrants are ordering other migrants to steal items in exchange for fake IDs. So they're uncovering a crime ring up in Chicago. But also we got to delve into this bill out of the Illinois State House. State Representative Justin Slaughter has a measure that would essentially prevent police from pulling people over for certain types of traffic violations. So we'll touch on that as well. It is Bishop on Air. Thank you so much for hanging out each and every weekday morning. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow along. If you see below the description here, you'll see a Discord link. I am going to try that out a little bit later on this week, probably Friday. We'll open it up to see if we can possibly take some calls that way. I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll test it out on Friday. What a better day to do that than Friday. So stay tuned. We've got a lot to get to this morning. Thanks for hanging out each and every weekday morning. Bishop on Air. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned. Much more on the way. One thing I know you guys come to this channel time and again for is the latest on gun litigation and the status of gun laws in the state of Illinois in particular. And we've been tracking that for well over a year now. And a lot of you check this channel just for that. Well, I've got some updates. We, of course, have the case in the Southern District of Illinois that's continuing on Friday, but several other cases on pause. So we'll take a look here with Bishop on Air. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Each and every weekday morning, we do live streams here, and then we segment out the program into various bits, so you can check those out throughout the day as well. But let's get into it. As some Illinois gun ban challenges are paused, Southern District case continues. So Friday, 1:30, Southern District of Illinois, Judge Stephen McGlynn, he has the parties coming together to discuss scheduling issues and a timeline for discovery in that case, which has several plaintiffs groups all lumped together. You've got the Langley plaintiffs with the Barnett plaintiffs with the Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois and others, the Harrell plaintiffs, 4 different plaintiffs groups that are in the Southern District of Illinois. Now, we've seen this case go from the Southern District for preliminary issues where the plaintiffs were successful in getting an injunction, to the state appealing to the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, and that stay on the law, the preliminary injunction on the law, a stay was put on that. And what a stay means is pretty much puts a pause on that preliminary injunction, and a preliminary injunction means temporarily the law is blocked. So Southern District in this case last year, back in April, this feels like so long ago, and we're actually approaching a full year. That's incredible to think about, but here we are in 2024, the end of January. But back in April last year, you had the Southern District issue an injunction blocking the law from being implemented, and then the 7th Circuit, at the request of the state, paused that injunction, but only lasted 6 days before they put that pause on it. Those are all preliminary issues, right? And there were even some that tried to go to the U.S. Supreme Court after the 7th Circuit made their ruling, unsuccessfully trying to get the Supreme Court to intervene. But the case now is back in the Southern District, and Judge Stephen McGlynn is moving forward. But there are other cases, of course, outside of the Southern District of Illinois. In the Northern District, you have a case of Herrera versus Raul, where the judge there had a status filing that they wanted plaintiffs to put in. This was back on the 19th when they put that in. And the judge in this case says that ultimately they're going to go ahead and issue a stay at the request of plaintiffs, because plaintiffs intend to file a petition to the U.S. Supreme Court, and that the defendants, except the Cook County defendants, agree that a stay is warranted. So in light of this posture, the court said they agree that a stay is appropriate. And this is for the Herrera v. Raul case. So clearly, we have this possible stay down in the Southern District that plaintiffs were seeking. If you recall, when they had a status conference several weeks ago, Judge McGlynn said, hey, we're going to move forward with this case. And even the plaintiffs were like, no, hold on a second. We don't want to go to the merits quite yet. We want to try again at the U.S. Supreme Court. Well, Judge McGlynn said, no, we're moving forward with the merits of this case. I guess similar arguments were made in the Northern District cases, in particular with the Herrera case. And the judge there, hearing the plaintiffs say, hey, we're going to possibly get this thing in front of the U.S. Supreme Court again, so we want to hold off on moving forward in the case on the merits in the Northern District. You also have the Keneally case. That's the McHenry County State's attorney, Patrick Keneally, who had sued the state, and they also have a stay in place now. And this was from earlier this month. It said, in light of the parties' supplemental filings, the plaintiff's request for stay is granted. The case is stayed pending developments, including an appeal in Beavis v. Naperville. The motions for preliminary injunction and for judgment on the pleadings are stricken without prejudice, meaning they can bring those pleadings back. But all of that in the Keneally case apparently is being held off until they get something from the Beavis case, which could possibly see that in front of the U.S. Supreme Court again. We'll have to connect with the organization supporting Robert Beavis in that case to find out when exactly they're going to file that. I believe they have a sometime in March, a deadline to file for the U.S. Supreme Court to take the case. So bottom line is here, all right, the status of these lawsuits. Just even this week, in the Herrera case, the judge yesterday, what's today, the 31st? The judge yesterday in the Herrera case in the Northern District granted a stay at request of the plaintiffs. And this is interesting. The plaintiffs are the ones requesting that they don't move forward on the merits because they're hoping to get to the U.S. Supreme Court. Same thing with the Keneally case and the Beavis case, looking to get to in front of the U.S. Supreme Court, so they're not going to be messing with the merits at this moment in the District Court of Northern Illinois federal court. However, in that Southern District, Friday afternoon, Judge Stephen McGlynn is going to be holding a status conference to essentially have the plaintiffs and the defense spell out scheduling issues and get a timeline for discovery in that case on the merits. So we'll be watching that closely. But you also have this story out of Washington, D.C., of course, thecentersquare.com, where you can get more stories like this, especially if you're wanting to get a good taxpayer's perspective from what's going on in Washington, D.C. You can check out the headline, Supreme Court to hear arguments in federal bump stock ban case. And this is the U.S. Supreme Court looking to consider a federal ban on bump stocks late in February. The latest opportunity for the high court to rule on gun violence and Second Amendment rights. So that's interesting. We'll watch that as well because that's a pretty big case, but you can read more about that at thecentersquare.com. All right, so just a little bit of an overview of where we're at with all of these various lawsuits against just gun laws in Illinois. This is just, again, looking at a few in Illinois that deal with the gun ban, not with the FOID card. The FOID card, you've got a federal challenge. I believe it's Myers v. Kelly. That is set for a schedule of discovery sometime in May. So they have to get together the, various things they want to try to discover and spell out to the judge. This is how we look to proceed forward so we can have a trial on these issues. That's not going to happen until May this year. But before then, expecting the Southern District of Illinois federal courts to move forward expeditiously, as Judge Stephen McGlynn has spelled out previously. So again, they got a status hearing on Friday afternoon. I'll do what I can to call into that and then break it down for you, possibly even as late as Friday evening. I'll try to get you out something so you can keep posted on that. But clearly there's a lot of moving pieces here, and I'm going to do what I can to keep you updated on that. But also be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because when lawmakers come back to Springfield here in Illinois for the start of spring session, they could tackle a whole bunch of other gun legislation. So we'll be piecemealing out some of the various things that we may see come out of all of that in the near future. All right, so that's a little bit of an overview. Appreciate you guys being here each and every weekday morning. It really is pretty humbling to see people tuning in and watching the live stream, but also all of the numbers of people who are here regularly, just checking out the videos even late at night. So thumbs up to all that. All right, stay tuned. As always, plenty more here with Bishop on Air. Cook County Sheriff Tom Darts says migrants are having other migrants go out and steal products from stores in Cook County in exchange for fake identification and work permits. This, of course, as the state continues to receive non-citizen migrants, foreign nationals, people claiming asylum. And while you've got some pretty heartwarming stories of Venezuelan migrants helping other non-citizen migrants learn English, you've got other stories like this that seems to highlight a real criminal problem in the overall migrant situation. So let's get into this. Bishop on Air with you each and every weekday morning. Thanks for hanging out. Tom Darts, Sheriff of Cook County, had a news conference yesterday. And this is just a sampling of what he had to say. And of course, we'll talk a little bit more about it on the other side.
The strategies were a little bit different depending on what we were dealing with. But there was organized retail theft, there was less organized, and then there was theft that we were getting that was coming from an area that we hadn't thought of before, which was from foreign nationals. So we started putting strategies together, foot patrols, analytics, more data-driven than the past, but also working on the internet side of it, because we knew when people were stealing this, they were reselling it at different locations, but a lot of it was being done on the internet. So there was a lot of different motives, a lot of different reasons, but the one number that kept jumping out at us is that every month we were getting more and more foreign nationals that we in the Chicago Police Department were arresting in the Michigan Avenue area for retail theft. We started pursuing these cases on many levels, not just the criminal charge of it, but to find out what, if anything, was going on beyond the obvious. What we found was that in many cases, I'm not talking one or two, in many cases, upon interviewing the individual that we took into custody, they told us almost identical stories, that they were being either told to steal things to get money, or specifically directed to steal specific things, all of which were then taken back to individuals where they were then being able to either buy or trade for Social Security numbers, cards, or American Permanent Residency cards.
Again, you've got this issue of migrants telling other migrants to go steal in exchange for money or in exchange for fake work permits, fake ID permits. And he said that these crimes are low-level crimes, and those committing the crimes are being arrested and they're being released because many times it's just a misdemeanor. The others, though, who are telling these migrants, what he said were Mexican foreign nationals telling these Venezuelan migrants to go steal in exchange for money or in exchange for fake work permits or fake IDs. These 3 Mexican foreign nationals they arrested have been charged with, class 4, class 3 felonies. So clearly this is an issue. Now, Dart, he said that ultimately you've got this problem that the federal government needs to address. And he didn't necessarily want to wade into the waters of how that gets done, but he did indicate maybe making it easier to get work permits could alleviate this type of crime. But he also said that this is just one element of the retail theft that's been going on. And he didn't have an exact list of the items that were being stolen, but he hinted at it being like deodorant or, drugstore type of products. So not really super expensive products. He said this is a totally separate class of retail theft than what they typically see with the high-priced retail theft. Designer brand stores being crash and grabbed, and those types of things happening more and more. But Dart saying that more and more since about March of last year, they've seen migrants getting arrested for retail theft. They did an undercover operation to determine how this is happening, and then you've got them uncovering that they're being told to steal items by other migrants. And these non-citizens from Venezuela, he indicated, are going out and stealing. And a lot of times he even said there's been one instance where somebody would walk into a store and the store wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't put hands on anybody. They'd just watch somebody steal stuff. And the person would go in and steal and walk out and then go back in later in another day and come out with goods. And one time even apparently waving at the employees. So it's rampant. And something that he said is they uncovered and hopefully are putting a stop to, but it comes down to the policy decisions that are going to be made in Washington, D.C. So that's an interesting story out of Cook County. But Governor J.B. Pritzker, he was asked yesterday about the migrant situation and what exactly the state's going to continue to do to alleviate the ongoing issues.
We're going to have to continue to manage the influx of migrants to the city would be my expectation. And so as partners with the county, with the state, the city is going to have to be right there at the table, as they are now, to make sure that we're serving the needs of those who, in this humanitarian crisis, need our help.
So the governor, again, just really saying, hey, they're going to work together with the county, with the federal government, and the city to continue to provide help to these migrants. But the crime situation, at least what Tom Dart had indicated yesterday out of the Cook County Sheriff's Office, raising some continued concerns about the whole situation and how this is going to get sorted out in the end. Well, I guess we'll wait and see what Congress does. But, that plan that they have they're floating around seems to be dead on arrival in the U.S. House. So clearly, the impact continues in Illinois, not just the humanitarian toll, not just the taxpayer cost toll, but now you've got stories of crime where migrants are telling other migrants to go steal things in exchange for fake IDs, fake work permits, and more. So that's a whole new level here. We'll continue to stay on top of that as well. It's Bishop on Air. Thanks for hanging out. Each and every weekday morning, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, all right? Illinois, we have no cash bail. We have measures that limit how police interact with criminal suspects. We have also measures that allow for people to make anonymous complaints against police. And now, a measure that's being floated at the Illinois State House would prevent police from pulling people over for a whole host of vehicle infractions. Welcome back, Bishop on Air. I'm Greg Bishop, here in my home studio, just hanging out with you each and every weekday morning. Hopefully you enjoy at least getting a sample of some Illinois-specific issues. In my full-time capacity, I go to the Illinois State House, and I cover what happens at the Illinois State House. And it's a lot of work. And I enjoy it, but if you want to follow me, you can do so on X, Facebook, here on YouTube, Rumble. Just search Bishop on Air anywhere, okay? Bishop on Air. But I work with thecentersquare.com. I'm associate editor out there, so I keep a close eye on what's going on in Illinois. So we've got a flurry of legislation expected this year. It's the second year of a 2-year term for the Illinois General Assembly. They start back on Tuesday, and I've heard it indicated as silly season when, at the beginning of a legislative session, there's a whole bunch of legislation that's filed, and all kinds of different ideas. We've talked a little bit about some of the gun legislation. Today, there's going to be a measure about the estate tax and how that's going to be possibly impacting farmers. So that's a news conference that's happening. It's a bipartisan bill. So we'll see what happens with that. But there's also a bunch of other, criminal justice things that are going to be floated. One in particular, State Representative Justin Slaughter, he has this measure filed at the Illinois State House. And follow along with me if you can. It is House Bill 4603. Now, if you go to ilga.gov, you'll be able to find this simply by searching in the bill number section, HB 4603. You'll find this. As of right now, this has not moved beyond just being filed. It was filed just a couple of days ago. What this bill does, the synopsis, and this is where you can see on legislation, instead of having to go through and read the long PDF, if you look at the synopsis, you can get a general idea. So what it does, and this is State Representative Justin Slaughter's measure. Justin Slaughter is the guy who brought forward the Safety Act and the no cash bail provisions that were passed, in the wee hours of the morning back in 2021, early 2021. But anyway, that's whole saga with no cash bail. And I see stories all the time of, even here in Springfield, somebody was arrested and then they were arrested again 5 hours after being released. Up in Cook County, you've got migrants that are being arrested for retail theft and they're just let out after being booked. So, the no cash bail thing, some people have serious reservations about it. Others saying that, listen, no cash bail means that you're innocent until proven guilty and you shouldn't be held behind bars pending trial while you're innocent until proven guilty. So just because you can't bail out doesn't mean you should linger in there, while somebody who's rich can bail themselves out for even, a murder charge. So, obviously the debate over no cash bail still going on. We'll obviously follow that as well. But look at this bill again. All right, so Justin Slaughter has this measure that says it provides that no law enforcement officer shall stop a motor vehicle for, and a whole myriad of reasons, failing to display registration plates or stickers, being operated with an expired registration sticker, violating general speed restrictions, unless that violation is a misdemeanor or felony offense, improper lane usage, unless that violation is a misdemeanor or felony offense, failing to comply with certain requirements concerning vehicle lamps, excessive tint, defective mirrors, an obstructed windshield or defective windshield wipers, defective bumpers, excessive exhaust, and failure of the vehicle operator to wear a safety belt. Provides no evidence discovered or obtained as the result of a stop in violation of these provisions, including but not limited to evidence discovered or obtained by the operator's consent, shall be admissible in any trial, hearing, or other proceeding, and this prompts home rule. So the measure essentially would say, hey, police officers, you cannot predicate a pullover based off somebody not wearing a seatbelt. I'm sure some of you out there are probably like, yay, I hate wearing my seatbelt. I I'm of the mind with the seatbelt. I can't not drive without the seatbelt on. I feel secure in it. I don't know. But anyways, so other things, having an expired sticker, then what's the point of having the stickers? Being operated, with bad wipers, bad lamps. Some may say that that's a security concern. Excessive tint. All right. Defective mirrors, defective bumpers, excessive exhaust. Also, the general speed restrictions. So this measure's in front of the state legislature from State Representative Justin Slaughter. We'll see just how far this goes. But as of right now, all it is a proposed bill. It has not advanced. You could see here even the latest actions not yet advanced to a committee. But it's still early in the legislative session, so we'll watch this bill closely. And what's interesting is, you see these types of stories, and even, a law enforcement officer is the one that tipped me off to this bill. I don't get to necessarily see all the bills pouring in, but this is on top of other things that those in law enforcement say is concerning to them. Up in Chicago, you've got even WBEZ reporting that Mayor Johnson is looking to remove police from schools. The mayor telling the Sun-Times and WBEZ he'll give the Board of Education the green light to end its contract with Chicago police. So, the whole idea of law enforcement in schools getting pushed back from Chicago. But all of that, as you've got Florida Governor Ron DeSantis continuing on with his efforts to recruit thousands of law enforcement officers from across the country, including here in Illinois. Here's Ron DeSantis.
Recruits in from every other of the 49 states, as well as 2 U.S. territories. And almost 400 of the 4,000 come from just 3 states, New York, California, and Illinois. You probably would have guessed that. So we're excited about the success of this program. We're thankful to have so many great people in this profession in the state of Florida. And I don't think it's even a question. If somebody just could wave a wand and say, where would I want to be in law enforcement of all 50 states, they would overwhelmingly choose the free state of Florida.
So again, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis continuing to recruit law enforcement from places like Illinois with a sizable bonus. I even saw in Alaska, they're giving like $40,000 bonuses in several jurisdictions in Alaska. So that's something I think these states are looking to continue to do in their efforts to try to recruit law enforcement to their states. Fascinating stuff. All right, it is Bishop on Air with YouTube, X, Facebook, Rumble. Find it anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air. If you want to, you can support the program by checking out some of the merchandise. Go to bishoponair.com. You'll be able to find that there. All right, a few more segments here. Stay tuned. Former President Donald Trump and incumbent President Joe Biden will remain on Illinois' March 19th primary ballot. Welcome back, Bishop on Air. It's incredible to see this taking place, especially with states like Colorado and Maine, and now you got the U.S. Supreme Court getting involved. They're actually going to be hearing a case about this issue of whether or not Trump can be kept off a ballot because of alleged insurrection. Something he has not been found guilty of. I don't even think he's been charged with it, with the 90-some-odd federal charges that his opponents say are going to be, the end of Trump. But we'll see. Either way, yesterday you had the hearing of the Illinois State Board of Elections, a bipartisan board, equal Democrat, equal Republican, who heard the hearing officer's recommendations, administrative judge recommendations on a whole host of ballot access questions, including the individuals who are challenging Trump's name on Illinois' primary ballots. And those challengers said, hey, Trump's an insurrectionist. He incited the insurrection on January 6, 2021, and it was a deadly insurrection. And they, even played video that was highly edited during one hearing last week. But yesterday, the State Board of Elections holding their official vote, and they had several things they could have voted for. They could have approved to kick Trump off the ballot, or they could have gone ahead and denied moving forward with such an objection. Jack Vrett, he is a State Board of Elections member, and he made this motion yesterday, spelling out how he says the Illinois State Board of Elections is very limited in what they are actually able to dip their feet into when it comes to ballot access issues.
It is a phrase in the law or an axiom that hard cases make bad law, and I think we can all agree that applies to this case and the situation that lays before us. I think that the General Counsel has made a good job and tremendous effort into protecting the jurisdiction of this court, protecting our authority, and making sure that there is a record sufficient for the parties to fully litigate this matter upwards on appeal, as both have said that they intend to do, regardless of the outcome today. So I commend the General Counsel for that. The General Counsel advises us that if we pass on the constitutional question, we would be exceeding our authority under the election code. And I think it's important to reflect on what that would mean for this board, specifically if we were to do so. If we exceeded our authority and went beyond the documents in the nominating petitions and looked at the underlying conduct that was alleged in this case, what I believe we would see is a opening of a floodgate of litigation, not necessarily before this board, but before all of the electoral boards that look to us for guidance on all the different election matters across the state. The fact is that this board sets the standard, the legal standard and the procedural standard for all the other electoral boards across the state. We're talking about the county elections, the village boards, school boards, and the like. And if we allowed them and gave them authority to say, don't just look at the papers, but actually look at underlying allegations of misconduct, that would open up floodgate. One of the things we've seen over the years in this board is that challenges in these local elections often are the fiercest of any contested case, more so than at the presidential level. And I think that what we would see if we exceeded our authority is every possible school board candidate would seek to challenge the qualifications based on some sort of alleged criminal conduct. And this board and the other electoral boards are certainly not constituted to do so. There was wisdom, I believe, in the legislature when they created the election code and said what our authority was, and by that, what our authority wasn't. And when we all took an oath to serve in this role, we would be violating that oath if we exceeded our authority and wade into the constitutional question against the recommendation of the hearing officer and against the recommendation of the General Counsel. I'd also note that in addition, so that the record is clear, I think that the relief that objectors are seeking is one of ballot forfeiture, and under our statute, they simply haven't presented a case for ballot forfeiture as well. So with all of those caveats in mind, that's the rationale in my mind. Maybe others have others, but I would move that we accept the General Counsel's recommendation that the candidate did not file a false statement of candidacy, insofar that there is some sort of statement necessary. I think that we do not have jurisdiction to weigh into the constitutional issue and to decide the question of whether the candidate engaged in an insurrection in violation of Section 3. Therefore, I further move that we deny the motion for summary judgment, grant the motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction, and therefore overrule the objection.
So that is the motion that was made, and it was unanimous. They voted 8-0 to approve that motion, denying the motion to withdraw Trump's name and approving the motion to dismiss that objection, saying that they don't have the authority to say, well, a criminal allegation is grounds to remove somebody from the ballots. If they do that, they're going to open up a whole can of worms, even down to school board races, he said. So Jack Verrett there, the board member with the Illinois State Board of Elections, making that motion. So Trump's going to be on the ballots unless there's some kind of court action, because you've got the Illinois State Board of Elections that is just one body, right? So maybe those who wanted Trump off the ballot are going to take this to the courts, and maybe it's going to move its way through the courts. What about the U.S. Supreme Court and how they deal with all of this? So clearly there's going to be some more stories about this, depending on what various individuals do to either go to the courts and try to appeal the State Board of Elections decision here when it comes to Trump's name on the ballot. But you also had yesterday objections to try to get incumbent President Joe Biden off the ballot in Illinois. Those objections were thrown out as well. So Joe Biden's going to be on the ballot also. Our primary in Illinois is March 19th. So we have several more weeks to go here. We'll be watching to see what happens and how all this comes together. But what a fascinating time to be alive. No question about it. It is Bishop on Air. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow along anywhere, especially on X. Just search Bishop on Air. You can also find me on Facebook, on Spotify, on Rumble, here on YouTube. Greatly appreciate you guys being here each and every weekday morning. That's it for today, guys. Greatly appreciate you being here. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Those who are here each and every weekday morning, you guys already know that. But I do appreciate all the support and the subscriptions. Just blows me away just how much this channel's grown just in the past year. And like to see it grow more. Why not? If you like what I do, tell your friends. Tune in every morning, subscribe, find it on Spotify, wherever. It's Bishop on Air. Have yourselves a great day. We'll be back at it tomorrow at this time. Don't forget, you've got the Discord channel, which if you go to, actually, let's just pull this up, see if you could see this. And this is a way you could join. And I don't know if should we test this now? Should we give it a shot? Is anybody in there? This is how it's going to work, essentially, is if you want to call in, you just get out your smartphone, and I'd love for anybody to try this. All right? Maybe this is the test. And this is only going to be for stuff that's live. If we're not live, of course, you're not going to be able to do this. But if you get out your phone and scan that QR code on the screen, you should be able to be taken to a Discord server. From there, let's see if I can pull this up. We've got the Discord server here, and I'm connecting. Again, let me see if I can go ahead and get this going. So you'll see here, it'll take you to this channel. And I'm muted right now, but I'm going to go ahead and click on. And people should be able to hear me when they're in this channel. And you should also be able to talk back. So let me see if this works. If anybody's able to do this really quick. Let me pull this back up, but I'd be stoked if this helps and it works. Because, well, quite frankly, Coming from traditional talk radio where we took phone calls live, there's something else about it. It just adds to the program to hear directly from you. So take that screen that you see right now, the QR code, get your phone out, scan that. Jude just said Discord sells chat history to data brokers. Read potential employers and intelligence agencies, foreign and domestic. Be careful. Appreciate that. Always good to get those warnings. But yes, if you want to, and this is again is just a way to try to have some live phone calls. And if you're going to be calling into a live show, I mean, obviously, that's going to be somewhat public. I mean, we're streaming on the internet, for crying out loud. But if you do get a chance, mess around with this. Get that QR code in there, and just follow it. And looks like Soupster65 joined. Soupster, I'm going to see if I can pull you up, and you're going to be my first test subject here. So keep it clean. All right, Soupster, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, wow, look at that. We got you, and you're coming through. All right. So how's it feel to be
cool.
How does it feel to be the first live caller on Bishop on Air?
That's pretty amazing.
There seems to be a little bit of a delay, but clearly I think that's something we can work the bugs out. Looks like Larry has also joined, so interesting to see if Larry can pipe in as well. Larry?
Looks like Larry is also joined.
Yeah, there's clearly a delay.
Larry as well. Larry? Looks like Larry is also joined.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's delayed, though. Both Soupster and myself can hear you, Larry, but there is a considerable delay. Larry, Soupster, I appreciate you guys. I'm actually going to try to do something a little bit different here as well. We've got another person joining in. So now we've got 4 people in the Discord. This is going to be a little chaotic, I imagine, but who is that? 204-205. I take it that's just an anonymous voice there.
4 people in the Discord.
Yeah, we're getting your voice, and then we're getting feedback doubled up of your voice garbled.
Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, we get to hear everybody all double time.
Interesting.
From the K3 area.
All right. Look at that. You guys, okay, well, we'll have to see if this can work sometime. Like even on a Friday show at the end, we'll just pile in here and see what we could do. I am going to try to see if I can call Soupster. So, Soupster, I'm going to call you directly and see if I can just get a direct connection with you, and if that's any better. Because this could possibly be a way to take individual calls if they say in the chat, hey, I've got a point I want to make. So, Soupster, are you there? Can you hear me? Says call started. I'm going to add him as a friend. This is all new to me, by the way. Yes, I'm a human. Soupster, I'm trying to call you. And now it's giving me a whole bunch of other... Okay, live talk radio here, folks. Gotta love it. All right. Skip that. Skip. There we go. I have no idea what I'm doing here with Discord. Love it. All right, friend request sent to Soupster. Not sure if he can actually hear me or not. I've tried calling. Says I've started a call. Soupster, if you're talking, I can't hear you. All right, enough testing now. I appreciate everybody being here in this room. I'm going to head back over here to the other room and just let you guys know. Just tried calling Soupster. Let me see if I can click through, confirm. Yes, I want to go over here. So, guys, I appreciate you testing this with me. There's obviously a few bugs we have to work out. I tried calling Soupster directly, and that didn't necessarily work. So maybe I have to do a more long-term test on Friday or something. But I appreciate you guys checking it out. But this is going to be the channel. This is going to be the Discord channel where hopefully we can get things worked out to ultimately have live phone calls from you guys. So I appreciate you being here and for willing to test this out live on the internet. All right. Guys, I got to get out of here. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day, and we will see you back here tomorrow, bright and early, with Bishop on Air. Anywhere, just search Bishop on Air. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Bishop on Air. All right. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hippie, everything is monitored by the NSA. Everything is monitored. Aren't you familiar with Edward Snowden's work? Gotta love it. All right, I'm out here, guys. Have a good day.
So,